Time having arrived, I call the meeting of the school committee to order for today, Wednesday, September 18th, 2019. Please stand and salute our beautiful flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I mean, the room is packed with people. I mean, I didn't know we were going to have an audience. It must be the elections. Did everybody vote yesterday? Nice, nice. Welcome you all. Do we have, let's go right to our agenda.
Right to the consent agenda.
So we have absolutely
Any hearing of visitors? No hearing of visitors.
no visitors. So we're going to go right to the consent agenda, and these items will be treated as one block. If there are any members here that would like to take an item out of the block, please speak now, if I have a hold your peace. School Committee Sullivan. Item C. All right, so would you like to make a motion to remove item C?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion.
Is there a second?
To remove item C.
Motion has been properly made and properly second. All those in favor? All those opposed? Anyone else? Anything else? Could I please have, I would entertain a motion to take the consent items of the agenda.
Motion to approve items A, C, D, A, D, D, E, and F. Second.
Motion has been properly made and properly second. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Communications, do we have any?
Oh,
No.
Now we go to item C.
Now we
Item
go
C.
to-
Yeah, he's
now-
got
Okay, now let's go to item C.
Is this item C now?
Go right.
I wanted to mention Burlington Coat Factory, because they made a large donation last year. I'm not sure how much it is this year, but the donation last year was $10,000, and it went to the Raymond School. And from what I understand, that they talked to you, Mike, and the new principal, Melanie Hart, called me up, and we were supposed to go yesterday, but it was canceled. We're gonna go October 8th to pick up the check. And I just wanted to mention, because it's a real nice idea. The Burlington Coat Factory is brand new to Brockton. They showed up here last year, and they weren't in the mall 1 week, and they gave a donation of $10,000 to the school. And the teachers could use it however they wanted to buy supplies, which was pens, pencils, paper, erasers, all the stuff the teachers needed. And Carol McGrath, the principal at the time, set up an account for all the teachers with $100 each. And it worked well. They were happy. And I just because they're doing it again this year. And I just wanted to mention it. And I'd like to make a motion to approve item C.
Second.
Motion has been properly made in second. All those in favor? All those opposed? Motion carries. Perhaps Mr. Superintendent and I can drop by and personally thank those individuals for doing that. Maybe we can even finagle a citation from the city or something.
Perfect.
And maybe they'll double up
Yeah?
on their gifts. You know how it is. It
Yes, I
helps.
do. Nice idea.
Once we confirm the 8th, we'll make sure the mayor gets the invitation.
Absolutely. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much. Now we can go to communications. Are there any communications?
That's me, I think, right? No,
Oh,
I'm next.
No, you're next. None? Nothing in communications? All right, at this time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to the superintendent for the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to invite up Laura Streese, the Executive Director from the Charity Guild, who, if you saw us tonight, we were taking a picture with the high five on our hands. This was also done at the first Brockton High football game. And it's a Charity Guild's push to support Hunger Action Month. So I have Laura here to speak about it. She and I met yesterday. It's an amazing campaign, and I want her to talk a little bit about it. And I want to thank her for her hard work, along with the Charity Guild.
All right. Thank you so much, Superintendent Thomas and Mr. Mayor and the school committee. Thank you so much for having us here this evening. I'm here with a familiar face to many of you. I'm sure Nancy Gustafson, our vice chair of the Charity Guild. Our organization has been around since 1971. We serve more than 12,000 people every year here in the greater Brockton area. We also serve people from the surrounding towns. And this year, in support of Feeding America's Hunger Action Month, we kicked off a campaign at, as Superintendent Thomas said, the first home football game of the season, and took a great photograph with the fire department, Engine 5, to help build awareness for Hunger Action Month, and specifically for the Charity Guild and the work that we do here in the city. So we've been very fortunate to build a wonderful relationship here with the with Brockton High School and the school system in general. Dr. Murray has been a tremendous support to us. We did a canned food drive at the first home game this year and collected over 1,500 pounds of food that we brought to the food pantry the next day. We've also created a program with Ms. Richards, the head of the art department. We just had an art show in March where 38 students participated in a campaign to recreate some artwork for our building on 501 Main Street. And Lisandro Velasquez was the winner of that contest. He has been painting the mural all summer, and we hope to reveal that in the next month or so. But we really are fortunate to have you as partners, and thank you so much for your help. And we're high-fiving for 5 this month, so if you go to our Facebook page and to our Instagram page, which is just Facebook / The Charity Guild and Instagram / The Charity Guild, you'll see information about this in some of the photographs that we've been collecting, but we're asking people to take selfies, draw a high five on your hand, and post that to your individual pages and share your high five for 5. So thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, I want to recognize the hard work of the students from the Summerfest Art Show. If you came in the lobby tonight, the amazing work that I could never do. I was lucky to draw a stick figure when I was in school, so I'm always amazed and in awe at the talent of our students. And I want to welcome our good friend Bill McGauley and Sarah Richards, who is the Director of Art for the Brockton Public Schools. Those of you who know Bill, longtime Brocktonian, who is never afraid to spend a ton of time donating his time, his money. He's been doing it for years in Brockton, and we always want to thank Bill McGauley, one of the best guys you'll ever know, and what he's done for the Brockton Public Schools and for the kids of Brockton for several years can never go understated. So thank you, Bill, for being here tonight. We appreciate it.
Those are very kind words. I want to welcome everybody here, and first I'd like to thank the mayor and the superintendent for hosting us along with the school committee. This is our second year that we've been able to have a reception out front and then come in here before the school committee and make awards to the student artists who have been judged to have first, second, or third place in 4 different categories. So we're very fortunate also to be able to partner with the public schools. This art show is about 80 pieces of work, but our requirement is that every school and every grade be represented. That's our only requirement. The rest is up to the art teachers to choose the work, and Sarah does all the work in displaying it. The Brockton First Foundation really sponsors it, and we do very little of the work other than to come here tonight and to enjoy with family and students. And as Mike said, I don't think I could even draw a stick figure when I was in school, but year after year, this is our 7th annual art show. And every year it's like you just get enthused about what young creative talent that we have running through the entire school system. And the artwork from Brockton Public School kids is displayed and exhibited in several places during the year. This is just one of them. And we were fortunate enough to have a juried art show, and we have 3 extremely talented and experienced judges who judged the work. Ginny Mahoney, who could not make it tonight. She had another appointment after the date was changed. And Denise Lavica, from Fuller Craft. She couldn't make it, but we do have, where's Noelle? Noelle Foy, oh, okay. Noelle, so she's going to help us hand out the awards. And what I would like to do is to also thank Amy Corman and all of her students. I think she had 6 or 7 students who played the piano, and the music just adds a lot of background to our reception, so hope everybody enjoyed it. As far as the food that's left over out there, don't make a mad rush, but as you do leave, clean the table, okay? Otherwise, it's going to go to waste. Now, I want to introduce Sarah, but first, she doesn't get enough credit. She and her team do all the work all year long at every exhibit that Brockton students participate in. And she's always there. She put up all the artwork. She'll get it back to people. She puts the labels on there. And you just never get enough credit. You always do an amazing job. And you really have to give credit to yourself and the other art teachers in the school, because they actually encourage kids with their artistic ability. And today, I just want to make one mention, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Superintendent, that the Boston Foundation and the Mayor's Office in Boston announced $200,000 in grants to 10 nonprofits in Boston, specifically to help with the Student Art Development Program. And included in those grants is the ability to pay stipends to high school kids so they don't have to choose between a side job and art development for them. And they had over 20 or 25 corporations and 200 individuals. And it was all funded through the Shout Syndicate, which was only created in 2017. So the cities are doing it. We got to find a way also to bring more money into the city for the creative arts, particularly for young people. And I hope that this type of environment helps us do that. So Sarah, why don't you take over, and she'll tell you how we're going to proceed.
Good evening. I'm Sarah Richards. I'm the Director of Art. Thank you. First, I'd like to thank our interim superintendent, Mike Thomas, and the whole school committee for their continuous support of art education in this city, district-wide. It has always been something very special in Brockton, the art, the music, the drama program, and it's thanks to you that we still have such strong programs, and I appreciate that. I'd also like to thank Bill for organizing and getting sponsors for Summerfest every year. It's a great opportunity for us to share everything our students are doing with the community, and every opportunity we have to do that. Our kids always amaze people. I love to have people come in and say, I can't believe, a 5th grader did this. Our kids are so talented, and it's just so nice to be able to share that with the community. And I'd really like to thank all of my art teachers. I had some come tonight. They're the people that are day in and day out working with your students to inspire them to create artwork that represents who they are, what their interests are, and what they believe. And that's what art is. It's about a way for them to communicate what's going on with them and their emotions and who they are with the public. So I would like to thank the teachers. I'd like to actually give the teachers a round of applause. And now the awards. We're going to start with the K-2 category. We have Carolina Lima Kujana, grade 2, the Down East School. If you're here, please come on up. Next honorable mention in the K-2 category is Michaela Silver, kindergarten, the Gilmore School. Third place in the K-2 category, Kayla O'Keefe, the Brookfield School. Second place, the K-2 category, Adrian Goncalves Goodman, the George School. First place in the K-2 category, Kawan Rubens, the George School.
Nice job. Nice job.
We'll move. And now the grade 3 through 5 category, honorable mention, Camilla McIntyre, the Baker School. The next honorable mention for grade 3 through 5 category, Natalie Etienne, grade 4, the Brookfield School. Third place, 3 to 5 category, Genesis Rodriguez Vargas, grade 4, the George School. Second place, Lariandra Santillo, grade 5, the Brookfield School. And first place, Ethan Blanchard, grade 3, the Huntington School. Sixth through 8th grade category, honorable mention, Kaya Rodriguez, South Middle School. Honorable mention, Anya Brandeo, East Middle School. Third place, Adriana Gomes Lobo, grade 8, Ashfield Middle School. Second place, Cassandra Morrison, Cassidy Morrison, I'm sorry, Cliff Academy. First place, Dariana Fonts, South Middle School, grade 8. The 9 through 12 category, honorable mention, Caitlin Donovan, grade 10, BHS. Honorable mention, Aviana Dean, grade 11, BHS. Third place, McNally Claremont, grade 10, BHS. Second place, Farzana Hawk, grade 10, BHS. First place, Jeremy Flourishma, Frederick Douglass Academy, first place. And best in show, Moses Pierre, grade 12, BHS. Moses is off at college, so that's why he's not here tonight. I just really want to thank all the parents for coming and supporting their children. I really appreciate it. Have a good night. Thank you.
All right, I'll call the meeting back to order. Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, Mayor.
Please continue.
So we have some recognitions for some people that did amazing things for us over this past summer. So I want to recognize first Riley O'Connell. He's 1 year old. His mom and dad, Jason and Casey, and his aunt Caitlin Fitzgerald. I don't know if Caitlin's here tonight. Actually, I had Caitlin in school. So she works for the school department. But the O'Connells collected backpacks and school supplies this year. So instead of gifts for Riley's first birthday, they decided to buy school supplies and backpacks and donate them to Brockton Public Schools and family in need. So
I just hope we didn't violate any child labor laws, though.
So it was great. They came to Central this past summer and visited us, and we took some pictures, and it was great. And it was happy to know, and it made me. It was nice to be able to give back a 1-year-old at the end of our time together. But wonderful kid, wonderful family, and we really appreciate what you did. It was fantastic. So thank you very much for being here. And if you come up.
I think we also have.
So, the school committee, superintendent's office, and the mayor's offices have certificates for you, so.
Thank you.
Citation.
How are you?
You first.
One more over here.
Next, I want to introduce Valen Smith. She's 10 years old from Bridgewater. Valen made and sold holiday ornaments, earning $1,000 that she used to buy school supplies for the Hancock School.
Wow.
Her Lady Sting softball coach, our own Laura Kane, who is the administrative assistant for the Hancock School, is her softball coach. So Valen thought it was very important to give back to the school where her coach works. And this is an amazing thing. And again, we thank you. Come on up so we can recognize you.
Nice job. Thank you.
Next, I want to welcome Denise Bishop. She's second grade teacher at the Gilmore School. Denise has been with us for 19 years, so we want to welcome her. She's a Brockton High graduate of 1982. She raised $5,000 this year in memory of her Aunt Beverly, so that every Gilmore School student has 10 books to take home for their personal libraries. Last year, she raised funds for 200 students to take 9 books home. So we really thank Denise, who has always been a great member of the Brockton Public Schools. Actually, she and I used to work the Brockton After Dark program together years ago. So she always is quick to help, volunteer her time, jump in, do extra things for students, and we want to welcome her here tonight and thank her for what she's done for the Gilmore School. We really appreciate it. Come on up, Denise. So finally, I have four more people to recognize who couldn't be with us tonight. I want to thank Jennifer Edwards from Body Elements. It's a fitness club here in Brockton. Jennifer Edwards, the manager and trainer of Body Elements on East Ashland Street, held a school supplies drive with her colleagues and clients, and they donated 15 beautiful backpacks for Brockton students in need. So we want to thank Jennifer, who dropped those off at Central this past summer, as you can tell by my casual wear. So, so I want to thank Jennifer. And I also want to thank Jasmine Jean Louis. Jasmine is a member of the Massachusetts Black Woman Attorneys Association, and she donated 5 filled backpacks with extra school supplies to newcomer students who are new to Brockton Public Schools and to our country. She came by again this summer and donated them, and I want to thank Jasmine for this very generous donation, along with the Black Woman Attorneys Association. So we really appreciate that. And finally, Lita Coopers of Invoice Cloud of Braintree stopped by with 3 filled backpacks from a school supplies drive in her office. She's a Brockton resident. She works in Braintree. Her and her colleagues wanted to donate backpacks and school supplies of Brockton students in need. So we also want to thank Lita as well. So we had some really wonderful people this year really helping us out and that really care about our students, and some of them not even from Brockton, but really wanted to make sure they helped our community. So we want to thank them all and for all that were here tonight. So we really appreciate everybody from being here, family and friends. Again, we'll take a short time so you don't have to listen to the rest of the meeting. And feel free to stay if you want, but and if anybody, I'll let the school committee also chime in if did I miss somebody. Oh, Jordan, my old student. I'm sorry. One more, I'm sorry. Jordan Cruz. Actually, I had Jordan in school. So he's BHS class of 2008. This is the 3rd year in a row that Jordan dropped off dozens of new pairs of sneakers from Concepts Boutique, from the New England Patriots. He also, along with dropping off hoodies, sweatshirts, supplies, and more for Brockton Brockton Public School students. He's done this 3 years in a row. I actually had Jordan when he was in the yellow building at Brockton High. A great student, a great kid, and always wants to give back to the kids of Brockton. So I want to thank Jordan as well. So, thank you for that.
Now you're done.
Now I'm done, and now, obviously, feel free to, anybody can chime in, obviously. I appreciate it.
What we witnessed here tonight basically makes this community so great. People stepping up to others who are in need. This is always what makes Brockton so special, especially when, let's say you're out of Brockton and you meet someone that's from Brockton or was from Brockton. It's always fond memories. It's always good times, thinking about good places, and it really is a wonderful. This is really a wonderful community. Brockton has been consistent all really throughout its existence. When it was born out of North Bridgewater, and basically, we're a city of immigrants and newcomers, and the only thing that basically changes is where people come from. But it's the same concept. It's the same place, just different faces, but a very special place. And in this room tonight, is basically a witness to that. I mean, a testament to that. I mean, it's a great community. You know, there's so many communities you see around the country that unfortunately are going through so much turmoil. And not that, you know, we don't have our issues, but I think overall this is a heck of a great city. It's always been a heck of a great city, and I think it's a welcoming city, and it has a lot of great people that are part of this community, and I'm very proud of it. And I know that's why, you know, we love being on the school committee, because in the tough times and in the tough budgets, this school committee has refused to eliminate those special programs that help kids keep their interest and hone their talents, not necessarily, you know, in just reading, writing, and arithmetic. You know, you have to have, you know, like the principals say, you have to have a carrot that keeps that child involved, that motivates that child to stay in school and get the grades that they need to do in order to participate in that extracurricular or that program. So, very pleased tonight, and this is just, in my opinion, you know, why this community is so special.
Okay, Mr. Sullivan.
I'll be real quick. I just wanted to say, a night like this, I'm proud to live in Brockton and proud to be a part of Brockton. Thank you to everybody. Thank you.
I just wanted to kind of follow along with my colleagues. Actually, during the last recess, Mr. Minicello and I were discussing that, you know, nights like this where we get to recognize wonderful people in our city making a difference, and also getting to recognize the great talent that our kids have in the city is really what makes being on the school committee really worth it. This is, you know, it's exactly why we do it. Is you know, it just it's the best part of the job, is to be able to recognize the great things our kids are doing, and also, again, just community members in general making a difference. So definitely a night to be proud to be a part of Brockton Public Schools and a resident of this city.
Thank you, sir. Are you almost done? Or you
Yeah,
got
I'm almost
some-
have a couple
other
more
things?
reports, so
Go
I'm
for it.
going to invite up June Saber McGuire, the Chief Academic Officer, and Dr. Cliff Murray, our Executive Director for Middle Schools, and also our Brockton High School Principal. I want them to come up and do an enrollment report and class size report. June will discuss the enrollment at the elementary schools, and then Dr. Murray will discuss middle school class size and obviously the high school class size. So I just want to give you an update and report, again, with the no layoffs of staff or teachers and some additional staff members, again, has really made a big difference across the school system. Obviously, we're not where we want to be, but you can really tell. I've been to every building now at least twice, and you can really see the difference in class size. And there's a few still a little large, but overall, just seeing the classes, seeing the hallways, the cafeterias, you can see the difference. So again, we thank you for that, and I'll turn it over to June and Dr. Murray.
Good evening. So I love to say this. So this past Monday, we welcomed over 1,000 kindergarten students, and that would be our class of 2033. So I wonder how many of us will still be here on the school committee and in the schools to hand those students their diploma.
Which nursing home is the...
So I do want to say this past Monday, though, and in talking with the principals, and as the superintendent mentioned, we've been out in the schools. We've had just really positive feedback about the transition for many of our kindergarten students. And again, this is the first year where you see that we've totally transitioned to the new age requirement. So every student is 5 or older in our kindergartens, and by all accounts from our principals, and again, anecdotally, they're reporting that it's making a difference in their transition. So as far as class size at the kindergarten level, right now, the average class size is 21. Compared to last year, the average class size was 26. And so part of the reason for that is we did add 4 additional kindergarten classes, and that was a focus for the district. As far as preschool is concerned, I do want to mention that last year we had 4 half-day pre-Ks at the Arnone, and what we've done is we've taken 2 of those half-days and we've created 1 full-day pre-K. And we used those seats, we had a lottery for those seats, and I have to say we filled every one of those seats. So we have 20 students. We also have, sorry, I'm just looking at my numbers, making sure I'm giving you the right numbers. In total, we have 54 pre-K students at the Arnone School, where we have 60 seats available, and we fully expect to fill every one of those seats because there is a wait list. And so last year at this time, for the 80 seats we had only filled 57 seats. So clearly there's a real need for the pre-K, full-day pre-K. That seems to be the seats the parents are most interested in. As far as grade 1, again, we have, last year our average class size was 23. This year our average class size is 22. Last year in grade 2, our average class size was 25. This year it's 23. In grade 3, average class size, again, last year was 24. This year it's 22. Average class size in grade 4 was 25, and that's remained the same. And the average class size in grade 5 last year was 25, and that's also remained the same. So the numbers are pretty stable in grades 3, 4, and 5. And again, that's the average class size. And so that if you look across the district, you'll see that there are classes in certain schools that are larger than that, and there are classes that are smaller than that. So we took the total number of students and divided them by the number of classrooms we have in the district. And we're really watching that very closely. I just, as a matter of fact, got off the phone with Marcia, looking particularly at kindergarten and making sure that where we have additional seats, that's where we're assigning any new students that are coming into the parent registration center. So overall, again, the principals are reporting, and I'm hearing from teachers that they're feeling really positive about class size this year and overall the opening of schools.
And I also want to thank you to jump in referring to the beginning of kindergarten. Last year, I know that the school committee worked on the paras contract, and in that contract, you put that we would have paras ride the buses. So for the first 6 weeks of school, so that's worked out very well. So for the first 6 weeks of school, we want to make sure that our bus drivers learn who our kindergarten and first graders are. As you know, they're not allowed to let first graders or kindergarten students off the bus at the end of the day without a parent present at the bus stop. Sometimes this is very difficult for a bus driver that has 50, 55 students on the bus, so we're able to put monitors on the bus starting right away. And that's on the bus ride home, so the monitor can help the bus driver get to know the students, get to know the parents. So for the first 6 weeks, the monitors are helping out the bus driver, making sure that kindergarten students and first grade students are not left off bus stops without a parent present. So that really has helped, and I want to thank you for not only working that and negotiating that with the para union, but also putting that in the budget so we could do that for the first 6 weeks of school. I think that's very important. It's really helped with safety and security. So we appreciate that. And I'll turn it over to Dr. Murray.
We don't have enough paras for all of our buses. So the middle schools, to a person, the principals are very excited. They're very appreciative of your efforts with regards to staffing. Class sizes, we don't have any class sizes above 30. Last year, we had a number of classrooms within middle to high 30s. We've also been able to return some specialists, and this creates more electives, and as a result, smaller electives for those students. So these enrichment programs that you've supported, like art and music and things of that nature, the students get a little more attention. So that the middle school principals are very pleased. The late additions to a couple of the buildings for phys ed teachers, another big help, as phys ed tends to be an area of the gym where we can put students when we have people who are sick or have other professional commitments. So to a person, I think the middle schools can feel the difference. And again, they're very appreciative of all of your efforts. At the high school, we welcomed a freshman class of over 1,400 students, which is a big jump from the last several years. The building currently has almost 4,200 students in it. And in the last 6 days, we've registered over 90 students with English as a second language. So we are taking students in at a pretty regular clip, and finding ways to get them into the building and getting them started with their education. My third year at Brockton High, and I can tell you there is a noticeable difference in the feel of the building with the additional adults in some of our common areas, like the cafeteria and the hallways. I think our teachers have recognized your efforts again as their class sizes have been reduced, and it really has created, I think, a very positive climate, very upbeat atmosphere for all of us, administrators and educators alike. So I'd like to thank all of you for your efforts. Along those lines, I'd like to also thank the folks in the HR department. We did a lot of scrambling near the end of the summer as the budget became clear, and through the efforts of those folks in HR and payroll, it was really, a fight to the wire to get everybody in, but we're still actually adding folks as they clear through the query and fingerprinting process. So it's been a team effort. The superintendent's office, very helpful. So we're off to a great start. I think class sizes are going to show us some improvement with some of our academics, and we're all very hopeful in that direction. Thank you. One last thing, too. Friday night, Natick, 5 o'clock. Under the lights, it's going to be 80 degrees. It'll be a great evening, so come out and support the halftime show with the band. I hear they have a new routine, and the halftime performers, and of course, our athletes and musicians, so should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we'll be sticking with the 5 o'clock start time because obviously of the Triple E threat. We also, probably into next week, will have to start rolling back the time to about 4:45 to make sure we're getting things over by sundown. So until the threat is lifted, we have to pretty much stay the course, obviously for the safety of our students and our coaches in the extracurricular activities. So obviously, we can entertain any questions for June or Cliff.
Go ahead, sir.
Just something I want to point out, what a difference a year makes. My colleagues will recall this report last year this time was very upsetting. There was an alarming amount of red. For the folks at home that maybe don't know, when there's red, that classroom is at max capacity and that class is frozen. No more kids can be fit in that room. And there was an alarming amount of red on this last year and in years even before that. And I don't see any. And so
We actually have frozen enrollment in a couple of classrooms, but mostly it's because the class has reached a reasonable
right.
enrollment. And so we've said, okay, we can freeze this class because there are seats in other schools.
Right, you can freeze it at a reasonable place this time around where, I mean, it was really concerning and alarming. I know we all remember the high numbers, and again, this was just red. So it's really nice to see that we're in a much, much better place. And, also I wanted to comment, Superintendent Thomas, you brought up the paras. And I was on that negotiating committee, and, I don't think I realized until having gone and been a part of that just how the wide variety of different things that they are able to do to help us run the district and help teachers, and so they really, we get a lot out of our paras, and they help us in so many different ways. They really are extremely valuable to the district. So
No question about it. Yep, they're used in many different ways in our buildings to support teachers and the administration, and always are great with kids, so we really appreciate that.
Mr. Beth?
Yes, Mrs. Saber, what were the average class sizes that you said for the,
From last year?
yeah?
What, is any particular grade, or?
Now, do you have an overall?
I have it by grade level, so.
Okay, all right, yeah, because whenever we take averages, I always like to ask the question, what's the floor and what's the ceiling on those averages? So is it, because you can take an average, and you've got a floor here, and you've got a ceiling up here, so how close are the highest numbers that you have versus the lowest numbers that you have in?
Well, I would say that they're not that far off. We have, for instance, I was just looking at the enrollment at the Gilmore for kindergarten, the Davis, and the Kennedy, and the Gilmore's at 24, and so we had frozen those numbers because the Davis is at 19. And so we're asking the school registration center to place those students in those schools. So there are very few places where we have real concern
Okay.
about class size
Because I
being
think
high.
I think when we talk averages, it's always good, and it's a support to you and the effort that you're doing, is that we discuss what the floor and what the ceiling is. So what's the high, what's the low level? And if it's close, then you guys are really doing something that is incredibly good.
I think we can say overall it's close. There are still a few areas
Oh, yeah,
of concern.
there's always going to be variables. But it's not like, the guy who makes $5 and then the other guy that makes $25, and you do an average, and you say everybody's making $15 an hour. Well, that's not, tell the guy at $5 an hour that's what he's making. So that was the point that I wanted.
Right, so if you remember last week, we were worried about the George School, the
Sure,
first grade,
yeah.
the SEI. It had 30-plus kids, so we opened a K-1 over at the Baker
Mm-hmm.
to relieve some of that. So that's an area we're concerned with.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify, because then it makes it a lot easier for people to understand the idea of averages.
Right,
'Cause
thank you.
Averages can, and by doing that, then you've really clarified what that is. Then I have one question for Dr. Murray. You got 30, did you say 30 at the middle school?
30 would be a high. Pretty much our numbers are
Yeah.
26 to 28. We have a couple
Okay.
of classrooms with 25.
Okay.
But really, in the middle level, 30 is the max. You may have a random special that
Okay,
might have
all
a
right.
few extra students in it, but pretty much they're all under 30.
Yeah, good, because I wanted that kind of clarified so that people don't think, well, Jesus, at the middle school, we got an average class size of 30, which is not the case.
No, so it's a range from 25 to 30, but
Yeah,
pretty
I
much
mean,
they're
that's a
all in that
good range.
26, 28.
That's a good
so.
range. Okay, all right, thank you, thank you.
Mr. Sullivan.
Yes, I just wanted to thank June Saban McGuire and Cliff Murray for the job well done. I know with the promotion of Mike Thomas, the superintendent, a lot of work got dumped on everybody, because there is no deputy superintendent, and now you two are like everything. And thank you, it's a nice job, and people should know at home that Brockton Public Schools now is saving a ton of money because there is no deputy superintendent. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, look, he's got wide shoulders.
Yeah.
Don't worry, don't feel too bad for him. Still have the floor, Mr.
Yeah, and that's actually, that does it for the report of the superintendent, so thank you.
Would entertain a motion to accept the report.
Second,
All those in favor? Report accepted. Do we have any items that will be referred to subcommittees?
yeah, one.
Mr. Sullivan?
I talked to Superintendent Mike Thomas, I think it was about a week ago, about the possibility of bringing the buses into Brockton. In other words, the school department would own the buses and the drivers. And he wanted to bring it up at a subcommittee meeting for a possibility and see if it's even plausible. It would have to be sometime in October.
Yeah, I'd like to start, we talked about this last year with the cost of busing going nowhere but up. We're up to 12 million this year in the non-net budget. Also, the contract for first student is up again next year, so obviously that cost with a new contract will be going up as we put it out to bid again. So I know Aldo's been looking to it a little bit about leasing vehicles, but I think it's time for us to really, through the Safety and Security and Transportation Subcommittee, I think it's time for us to really explore and, leasing or buying some of our own vehicles to start the process. Obviously, we can't do it all at once because we obviously run 107 vehicles first student runs for us. But I think if we can start looking into starting small with a few vans and maybe a couple buses and maybe start the process. And I know Mr. Minicello brought this up this past summer when we were talking about the shortfall in the transportation budget. So I think it's wise for us to start really talking about it.
Mr. Minicello?
There are some districts that have a portion of their fleet that is, owned by the town or the city, and a portion that they basically contract out. So I think one of those cities is Salem, and I think we do have a connection up there, so we could probably find out, how that works and whether, it's worthwhile and how it would benefit, how it benefits that community and how it would perhaps work here. So perhaps Mr. Petronio could make a call to the superintendent up in Salem and see if she would give permission to have her business office share some data so that we can make an informed decision about looking to resource some of that internal to the city and/or our school system, as opposed to, just contracting everything out. And perhaps the start would be some of the smaller units, like the, special ed fleet, smaller vehicles, as opposed to having to, lease or, take on the larger buses. So time will tell, and so that way we don't waste our time if it's not, worthwhile financially.
I know we're gonna talk about this in the subcommittee, but we rent from First Student for all athletic events, right?
Correct. Yeah, it's part of the contract that they.
Part of the contract. That could be a starting point
Correct. Yep.
to own our own buses so that we could transport our own students to athletic events.
Yep, and the band.
That might be a way to start the process and save a little bit of money in this. That could be, or, I know we're going to discuss that in the subcommittee, but just wanted to get that into people's minds and think about that, because it could save considerable amount of money.
Yep, no question. And Aldo will bring all those costs to the subcommittee, that what we spend on field trip throughout the district, not only on athletics, but all our field trips. So he'll bring that to the, so Melinda can work with the committee. I know that's a committee of only 3, but obviously everybody would be invited to it. So she'll work with Mr. Sullivan, who's the chair of that committee, to put a date together, and then she'll make sure everybody knows. And also, about.
And Mr. Sullivan is our resident transportation expert.
He's the expert in the area.
Career long,
Yep.
so he's our expert on the,
Yep.
on the committee.
Could we hire him to be one of the drivers?
Good experience, right?
You're only gonna dispatch, you're gonna be the head dispatch.
Well, I think just so that people are aware, and I'm using an approximate number because I don't remember the exact dollar amount, so Aldo, correct me if I'm way off here, but if I'm not mistaken, every one of those large buses that folks see driving around and picking up kids is about $75,000 a year? 80, are we up to about 80? 81 now. Okay, all right, so we're up to about $80,000 for every one of those large buses that's driving around the city. I believe we have 52 to 53 of them, so it's a lot of money, so I mean,
And the
hopefully.
vans are not much more, they're only a couple $1,000s cheaper for a van.
Right, the smaller units, yeah, they're not a lot less, so if we can look at this and with all the units we have out there, find a way to save some money, it could be substantial.
Yep.
You know?
And also, not for this meeting, but probably after the November election, I'd like to also take the voting in the schools. As you know, we closed on the actual election day, but we still stay open for the primary. So I'd like to discuss, maybe bring somebody from the Elections Commission after November. Obviously, they'll be busy until then, but I would like to discuss, with all the time. First, I want to thank Lieutenant Vidaro for supplying the extra offices this year. Every school, every elementary school, every school that has voting, and that's 12 of them, had an extra police. They have a detailed officer that's always there, but they're there to protect the ballot box and the actual voting area. Lieutenant Vidaro was able to secure extra police officers for each one of those schools to then just work with the principal for the safety and security of the building, which is important. As you know, we spend a lot of time on safety and security and limited who can come and go into our buildings, but then we have election day on the primary. So I think that has to be a discussion of whether we continue to have school on the primary day, whether we change where the voting locations are in schools to make it people can only go into a gym and out of a gym where it's, more secure. So I think that takes some time and some effort to where the voting machines are. But I think we have to have that discussion, as you know, is heightened security always for our students and staff. I think it's important that, again, after the November election, that we have that discussion about, it's good that we close on election day, but, we still open on the primary day, and, we need to talk about whether that still makes sense. So we can work with Melinda after the election and work on getting the elections commissioner in for a meeting, and then we can ask some questions and actually really pinpoint where they actually are voting in schools, or whether or not we should stay open on primary day. I think we need to discuss that. Because parents do call the office, and I'm sure you get calls concerned about, and staff are as well. Again, a lot of our staff have gone through a lot of safety and security training, and they're very conscious about making sure doors stay locked and who's coming and going in and out of the building. So I think it's important that we stay aware of it and have the discussion. So I'd like to refer that to a Safety and Security Subcommittee meeting sometime after the November election.
Just one quick, was there any incidents yesterday?
No, none. No.
Okay.
But again, it's not only the inside, in and out of the building, it's also the traffic in the parking lots for, as you know, traffic coming to school at the arrival and dismissal is never easy.
No.
We try to tell people to be patient. Obviously, it's usually 15 to 20 minutes in the morning and 15 to 20 minutes in the afternoon that, it's difficult, obviously, to get in and out of any school, anywhere you go, whether it's Brockton or any other town. It's tough to get in and out of a school at that time. But then when you add elections to it, and this was a pretty good turnout for a primary election.
Yes, it was.
So you do have a lot of traffic coming and going, and obviously kids walking in and out of school, buses and vans coming. So we have to take that into consideration as well. But we did not have any incidents yesterday.
Okay.
It's a good thing.
Thank you. That's it for me for any referrals to subcommittee.
Do we have any unfinished business? Anything we want to bring up that was left over from last time we met? Hearing none, we're going to move on to new business. Any new business? Mr. Minicello.
Each year at the MASC conference, the school committee has to vote a delegate from one of its members. I know that Mr. Bath plans to attend, and he has served in that role before. I would like the school committee to consider nominating him to be our official delegate at the November conference, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to be down there for the entire conference. I've already booked a hotel room, and I'm already going to be going. So I think it's important to be there all 3 days.
So, Mr. Minicello, would you like to make that in the form of a motion?
Certainly. I would like to make a motion to appoint Richard Bath, school committee member Richard Bath, as the Brockton School Committee delegate at the MASC November conference.
Second.
In Hyannis.
And that means he's going to go in full uniform representing our school system, right?
He'll look good.
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
A motion has been properly made in second. All those in favor? All those opposed? Mr. Bath shall represent the school system. Anything? Huh? Do we have nothing on the executive session? Oh, look at that. Anything else that we might want to share with the folks that are either watching us at home or sitting here? Madam Sullivan.
I just want to thank the administration and the principals and the teachers and all the paras and MTAs and food service and extracurricular for a very smooth opening of schools.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing none, do I ask for a motion, or can I just adjourn? Because in the city council, we just adjourned the motion.
I'll give you the motion to adjourn.
Motion has been made properly second. All those in favor?
Oh, yeah.
All those opposed? The meeting is adjourned.